What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I am talking about the new Pixar film, Toy Story 4. Now, this film was directed by Josh Cooley and brings back Tom Hanks and Tim Allen as Woody and Buzz, who are now in the care of Bonnie after, in the previous film, Andy had sent them to send them to Bonnie to be taken care of. And now this time, Bonnie is now about to enter kindergarten, and she was very anxious about joining kindergarten, so she invents this thing called a spork that she names Forky that doesn't know what it is, and it's alive, and they try to anticipate it being a toy. And so the toys go on a road trip, and it sets off a new adventure for the toys that I was super excited about. Now, anybody who knows me, I grew up with Toy Story my whole life. Toy Story was the first ever film I saw in my life. I was 3 years old. I fell in love with these characters when I was very little. I loved them so much. And here's the thing. I loved the first Toy Story. It's one of my favorite Pixar films ever made. It was the first one I ever saw. Toy Story 2 is great. I don't love it as much as the first one because there were some dark tones and some scenes that kind of disturbed me a little bit that I didn't really enjoy that much. But in the end, it's a very enjoyable movie. Toy Story 3, it was my favorite out of the three. I loved it. I loved it more than the first two put together. And when I found out they're making a fourth one, I wasn't really expecting it because they ended the third one on such a good note. And people were saying that this one was going to be bad and that it was not going to be that great. And people were saying, we don't need a fourth one. Fourth one shouldn't happen. It's never going to be good. And, I was thinking, well, just because the third one ended on a good note doesn't mean they can't make a fourth one that's also good. And I got to say, Toy Story 4 is my favorite Toy Story movie ever. Better than 3, better than the first two. I loved the heck out of this movie. Everything in this movie works. Bo Peep is at her prime game. She is amazing here. She was actually better in this movie than in the first two. Way better. Like, she's very adventurous and she's on a lot of new adventures. The antagonist was very, a little bit unexpected because I was kind of wondering, who the main antagonist in the movie was going to be, and when they revealed who it was, I was like, oh, that was unexpected. And she actually had a good reason for what she was doing, which, I was very happy for. And, they gave this antagonist an emotional side that you really understood, and I was like, thank you so much, because they did better with this villain than in Toy Story 3, to be honest. And all the new characters introduced into this series, Duke Kaboom and Ducky and Bunny were fantastic. I loved all of them. Giggle McDimples, the little toy on Bo Peep's shoulder. Every single character introduced into this movie was amazing, and I just couldn't believe how emotionally invested I was into this movie, because there was a lot of things happening in this movie and a lot of things that did happen at the end that I almost didn't want to happen, but the way they played it out, like the way they played something out in the beginning, lets you know, okay, I can see why that would make sense for the ending. I can see how it makes sense now. And it worked in the end, and I was like, all right, this is actually a good ending that I actually really enjoyed. Now, I couldn't really find an issue with this movie because this is basically my childhood, and it's not that I wasn't trying to find a flaw, because, I would have found one if I really thought there was one. But in the end, this is a damn perfect movie. This is excellent. This is probably one of my favorite films of the entire year. And I'm just speechless, you guys, for how great this movie was. I cannot wait to see if they do anything else with these characters. If they end here, that's fine too. Because, I'm always anticipating, something being an ending. Because I was anticipating Toy Story 3 to be the final one, although I didn't want it to be the last one. But if they chose to end it there, that would have been fine too. But the fact they made a new adventure with these toys was something that I was looking forward to. And, there was a scene at the very beginning of the movie, like the opening, 5 to 10 minutes of the movie was something that I really loved, to be honest, because it, involved, one of my favorite characters from my childhood when I first saw Toy Story as a kid. You'll see when you see the film. And so guys, in the end, Toy Story 4 is one of my favorite films of the entire year. It's my favorite Toy Story film ever created, and it earned an A+. So guys, that's Toy Story 4 for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button, share and like this video, and look forward to my next review for Child's Play. Okay, and I'll see you guys next time.